YouTube, Awesome Writer here. Welcome to my review for King-Ohger Episode 3. Another very solid episode, another episode focusing on a specific ranger and kingdom. I mentioned this last week, but I really like the way we're doing this. It seems like we're going to continue that for the next two. I really hope they don't try to double up the last two because you got plenty of time, and I think that this has been really valuable, not just because we're meeting each individual character, but we also have an entire kingdom to introduce, which is almost like a character of the world itself. And, you know, we've done this in previous seasons and in previous series I've seen, but this is kind of unique because, like I said, it feels like we're not only getting to know this character, but through getting to know the world, it feels like we're deepening the mythology and taking this like nice and slow approach, which I really like. And this episode, again, I have to praise the visuals. There were some really beautiful visuals in this. I mean, some really cool, sets and vibes you get from this kingdom to set it apart from the previous one and the little taste we've gotten of the other ones. But also there were some really cool establishing shots of like these huge open areas, which we don't see like them visiting in the episode, but they were beautiful and really fit in with the theme of beauty. And it gave this cinematic feeling to the episode. Same thing with the fights. Again, the fights look great. Like the cinematic feeling between the fights and these establishing shots, it makes me feel like I'm watching a real show. I'm like, is this Sentai? Like, it looks amazing, and it really just adds to this next level feel of it, and it makes you feel the vibe of the place so much better. But we get to know our Yellow Ranger. You know, a lot of it is kind of by the numbers what you were thinking. You know, she's this more spoiled princess character. You know, her whole thing is being selfish, wanting things for herself. You know, we go around and she even wants to tear down this house so that she can put something better there. And she obviously winds up giving the residents a new house and stuff like that. But it kind of goes the way you think in that regard. Because before this episode started, I'm like, I'm willing to bet, you know, it's going to be like, oh, she's spoiled, but she secretly cares about people. And that's basically what it is. However, there is a slight twist to it that I do like, is they obviously do have that, like, she's not 100% selfish, she still cares about her people. She'd put herself literally between, like, a sword and her people for being selfless in that moment. But she imparts wisdom to this girl who's kind of this, like, character of the week girl in this episode. Who she got healed by her because one of the aspects of their community is healing and medicine in addition to the beauty. And she got healed by her, but it didn't work, but it seemed like it was psychological. And later in the episode, she saves her, and she imparts some wisdom to her about saying, sometimes you have to be selfish, you know, to achieve your goals and to get what you want in the world, you have to be the one to look out for yourself. And I kind of liked that. I think that it creates this interesting character trait where I think it's obviously going to allow them to lean into the selfish princess aspect for some more comedic bits and, you know, stuff like that. But it's also kind of a nice twist just because typically these types of shows, Sentai and PR, have very black and white, goody two-shoes morals and lessons. And this is kind of a nice gray area one where it clearly shows she's not a totally selfish person, but she kind of imparts the wisdom, which I think is true, that it's okay to be selfish sometimes. And I dug that. I think it makes her unique. This episode was, I think, pretty good for her character that I hope they keep her balanced overall. She was one of the ones I was worried most about feeling like a cartoon. That could still happen with any of them. I think actually the Black Ranger I'm a little more worried because his performance is very much like I'm a Toku-toon character. But you know what I mean, is because of the characters very much having distinct personality traits and costumes, they could very much, you know, get lost in being a caricature. And I was worried about that. She was one of the ones I was most worried about. And this episode sort of eased my worries within the episode. That has me hoping that that's the way they keep it throughout the series. Is obviously it's Toku, they're going to lean into stupid, silly stuff, but I hope that they are actually able to have legit character moments for her and for all of them, quite frankly. Some funny bits too, where like when Red is accusing her of being selfish, Blue kind of defends her, and they basically lean into the fact that Blue has a crush on her, because Red's like, do you have a crush on her? Is that why you're defending her? And he's like, ha 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 ha, don't be silly. He doesn't say it like that, he actually doesn't sound like a weird, like, statesman. But you know what I mean. So it kind of establishes that dynamic, which will probably be an ongoing bit. I don't know if it would be an ongoing romance story or anything, but certainly probably an ongoing bit for the series. You know, I do like the way they're having the team build and recruit. I mean, obviously I said I like the way that we're introducing each ranger, but I like the way we're doing it in the sense that Red saying, I recruit you to my team, and then them leaving and joining him and leaving their kingdoms wouldn't make any sense. So the fact that it's kind of all happening really quickly, like Blue and them get swapped up, or Blue and them got, you know, taken by Yellow, and then at the end of this one, they all go off together after they're attacked. I like the way that's done. It can probably get a little cliche and repetitive, and I hope they change it up a little bit in the next couple episodes, but it's a good way of explaining that because it makes a lot more sense if they're sort of thrown into working together, and then obviously at the end of whatever, you know, road we're on, they'll probably decide to work together for whatever reason. But it makes it make a little more sense than I feel like it would feel weird if these rulers of their kingdoms, especially after they're established of like why they care about their kingdoms, would be like, yeah, I'm going to go with this weirdo Red. So I think that they're doing a good job with that. Mechify was good again, really nice and entertaining. I like to see how we're bringing each ranger into the mecha and seeing how they interact with it and what they bring to the table. We do debut another auxiliary in the form of the snail. Again, just my small annoyance on a franchise level. I wish we just waited a little bit. Some people did bring some good points up in my comments last week when I was complaining about the pill bug, that a lot of it has to do with perspective, and if you're not thinking about the toys, it's not that bad. And it's really not. I feel like, obviously, because I follow the toys, I'm more, knowing about the corporate aspect. I feel like if I wasn't collecting the toys, though, it would still seem a little fast, just because I feel like we just barely debuted, like, the main stuff, and we're already getting to auxiliaries, and it's because we have so many episodes, like, you have so much room to breathe. It still does bother me. It's not like something that's giving an overly negative mark on the show, but I wish it could breathe a little bit. That being said, I do like the unique ways both of them were introduced, and I don't need them to have a big story debut episode or anything either. But with the pill bug being, like something that the Blue Rangers country helped with, and then this one just being kind of one of the cute, little mecha animals just roaming, and Yellow happens to see it, and it gave it a lot of personality and a fun bit for the mecha fight. I liked the lead-in and the continuation of stories we had here as well, with them setting up Black Ranger as next week's focus by having Rackley's actually being the one to recruit him. Him showing it up at the end with Kabuto was really cool. It's also just funny because, again, like with the two auxiliaries debuting before Kabuto, which I got first thing in the set. I think the individual one came out later, but still that was kind of weird. But that was really cool. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm recruiting Black and the episode ends. Like, they have that as part of the episode, and then he shows up at the end. It was a nice bit of continuity, nice bit of way of having the transition to Black Ranger's focus feel more natural. There was also a blink and you missed it scene. There might have been more than one I might have missed, but there was one that I saw really quickly of Purple lurking in the background, scoping things out, which I think is very fitting for the vibe of their character. Also, I think a nice little setup for when we eventually get to focus on Purple Ranger, which was nice. And I like that overall feel that these episodes are kind of self-contained about, like, okay, we're introducing this Ranger, but it feels like there's more of an ongoing serialization than in most Sentais, which is nice. We also got a little bit more with the Bugnaroks, got a look at their underground base, which is kind of cool. It's got this, underground feel, since it is underground, kind of laying out their goals again for us, saying, oh, once we get the 3 shoe gods, then our goal for ruling will commence. And they show, like, this tablet, which foreshadows, I think, the Spider one that's going to be the 6th Ranger, because the rumor is we're having a White Spider Ranger. But yeah, I think I hit on everything for that. Overall, another solid episode. I would give it a 3. Only giving it a 3 instead of a 4 just because I felt like a little bit in the middle. Things dragged a little bit. There was a little bit weird pacing. Not that I mind them taking their time, but it just felt like they lingered on a few things that weren't as meaningful and made the pacing feel slightly off. And I just found it was overall solid, though. But I'm still enjoying the show. Again, really appreciating the slow burn as well as the continuing of the building and the mythology. But what did you guys think of Yellow's intro episode? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.